The Edinburgh skyline conveys an impression of stability. These venerable houses have stood the test of time, and it seems their value doesn't seem to change as quickly or abruptly as those in other parts of the UK. But there have been changes in the market here. It came as a surprise to some Power Lunch Club members to learn why the headline figures appear to be wrong.
Last year, in the first 6 months, 21% of properties sold through SPC were one-bedroom flats. This year, 15%. So inevitably, if you take a whole load of lower value properties out of the statistics, the average price goes up.
He's concerned about the problems younger people have in raising the money for a deposit, which means a shortage of first-time buyers. So afterwards I asked how he really saw the market right now.
Ultimately, in the end of the day, it's all about the quality of the property and the sector it's in and how much demand there is. If you've got a really good property in a quality area, then you're going to get a really good price for it. The buyers can be really choosy in the present market. If the garden faces the wrong direction or it's under a flight path or whatever, then buyers will probably say, I can wait for a better property. And then these are the properties that clients have to be really realistic about the price they will achieve for them.
So how much are you actually having to, if you like, manage expectations?
For most properties, a lot, and really from day one. And it's a question of them being realistic, not over-egging their expectations, and then reacting to their experience on the market. And if they have lots of people around the property and nobody wants to buy it at the price, they then need to look at the price, and we use fixed prices a lot as a result. A lot of people are saying, oh, well, I'll just hold on to the property, but my view is if they're going to do that, they've really got to have a 5-year plan. I think a year or two isn't going to fix this.
There's been a fundamental change in economic circumstances over the past 5 years. Does that mean there's been a change in the way the properties are sold?
It's probably more a change in the way that they're bought. Just because buyers aren't in desperation mode, they're not worried that the market's going to climb away from them. So they're a little bit more rational about the choice of property that they make, and if it's not the perfect property for them, they'll just say, I'll wait. Whereas in the past, people would go, crikey, if I don't buy that one, the next one's going to cost me a few % more, and it's beginning to get too expensive, so I need to get something. And that's why there's a greater differential between the really good ones and the not so good ones.
You're very critical of the whole concept of home reports. Why?
Just because I think the whole concept's flawed. I think the surveyors are in a very difficult situation because they're being paid by the person who's selling the property. Buyers don't trust them any longer. The banks and lenders have been really difficult with them in many cases. In certain circumstances, lenders will just say, we've got to get our own survey done. I believe that's because they actually want to control the whole property chain, and actually they will take a bit of profit out of the survey cost. And it's all predicated upon the assumption that a property has a very defined specific value, and in some cases it does if you've got lots of good comparisons, but if you haven't, the best way of finding the value in the property is the way that we used to find it, was how much will the buyer pay, how much will the market pay, whereas now the market's influenced by the figure that one surveyor happens to have put upon it.
So does that mean you actually want to get rid of them?
Absolutely. I was involved in trying to persuade the Scottish Government and the civil servants not to implement it in the first place, but unfortunately they didn't listen to us, and all that we predicted has actually happened. There's a growing clamour for that to happen, but the Scottish Government has other things on its collective mind right now.